So let's have a conversation about playing on vinyl and kind of the resurgence that vinyl has had in the past few years. This all stems from a clip from the Road podcast, Patreon episode featuring myself and my homie Nick Lopez, along with Jamie the Great and DJ Crooked, of course. And my man Neek was getting cooked in the comments. Now, for reference, what Neek said, and I have no problem with what Neek said, I agree with him. Um, he said that when he plays vinyl sets, because he does, he's part of the Mac Agency Vinyl Collective, which plays all vinyl at certain spots here in Las Vegas and other cities, I believe. That when he gets his crates together for that set, he doesn't prefer playing newer music. His preference is playing older jams and stuff you really wouldn't play if you were playing on like Serato or Record Box. And I agree with that. I agree with that in the way that, to me, and I mentioned this, when you're playing a vinyl set, especially because your crates are literally whatever you brought and that's it, it's more a reflection of your taste in music in comparison to if you're playing on your laptop or playing on USB sticks. And that's Neek's preference, right? His preference is to play stuff that he wouldn't normally play if he was using any sort of digital DJing. And to me, that's 100% fine. I enjoy that. Whenever I go see somebody play on vinyl, a part of me as a DJ is invested because I know that that vinyl set is going to be a more pure version of what this DJ likes to play, because it's literally, you have to physically bring a certain amount of records and you can only bring a certain amount of records, right? And the comments were kind of wild, right? I think a lot of DJs have lost sight of, excuse me, what it means to kind of program their set, and while they're programming their set, make sure that they're infusing their music sensibility into that set. Some of the comments were like, oh, you think you're better than other DJs because you're playing on vinyl? That wasn't even part of the conversation. And I'll get into that a little bit later too. Other comments were saying like, oh no, you should play newer stuff. If you have it on vinyl, if you're a real digger, you're gonna grab those records too. You never stop buying vinyl. That's fine and all, but also, especially when you're buying physical media, right? Like in this case, vinyl, you're spending your hard earned dollars and you're gonna buy what you like. I know in the past and even now, you're gonna buy some songs because you know you have to play them out because that's what the crowd wants to hear. But for me and how I look at it, if you're playing a vinyl set, you're gonna play stuff that you like way more often than playing something for the crowd. Now, if your music taste and sensibility is surrounding those, you know, more modern and more recent club hits with other things that kind of fit that vibe that's more of your taste, that's fine. But I don't think there should be any discussion about how that makes a DJ less of a DJ because he doesn't do that. Like, I'm a firm believer that a DJ's number one trait that they should have, or what separates, you know, bad, good, and great DJs, is their song selection, their music selection. And a part of that too is like, when you're sharing your music, especially on vinyl, you're sharing a part of yourself out there. And if that's not who Neek is and that's not what he wants to portray when he's playing a vinyl set, then yo, that's all good. That's who he is. That's who he is as a DJ, and that's part of his identity. And seeing other like super OG DJs comment on it and not really taking a step back and thinking of how important it is to give a part of yourself when you play vinyl, the way that Neek was kind of describing, I think it's a little short-sighted. And of course, because it was just a 1-minute clip, you didn't get the full story, you didn't get the full conversation about playing vinyl sets. Be sure to subscribe to the Road Podcast Patreon if you'd like to hear that whole conversation, by the way. But it's a double-edged sword, right? Like, especially for DJs that came up party rocking, playing on vinyl before Serato, before CDJs, etc. It was mandatory that you bought all the newer records. But I think a thing that wasn't really discussed is in this new resurgence of vinyl DJing, I think a lot of people that go to places that are vinyl only or go to an event that's having vinyl DJs play is their expectations are a little bit different. Their expectations aren't, oh, I want to hear what I hear in a regular club or a regular lounge or bar or whatever. I think the crowd understands a little bit more that, oh, I'm coming here for a curated experience. I'm coming here because I want to hear something a little different. Not only the music, but the format and everything that comes along with a vinyl night, right? You might hear some skips. You might hear a little bit of slipping while they're beat matching or whatever the case is. It's part of the allure of playing and hearing a vinyl set. I know, and this is just my personal taste, when I hear a vinyl DJ and they play a record that I know I wouldn't hear in a club, but it's something that like speaks to me and a song that I love, I go off like crazy because not only are they playing a song that I usually don't play out and I don't hear when I'm working, but also the fact that they took time out of their day to find the record, they took time to put it in their crate, they took money out of their bank account to purchase the record and play it. There's something special about that I think, even if I wasn't, a huge DJ nerd, I think there was a certain appreciation for that. And of course, in those crowds, you're going to have those people that don't understand how vinyl DJing works, and it's not an unlimited playlist of songs. But I think that crowd, the majority, are going to feel, kind of similar to the way that I feel, that there's more of an understanding, like, oh, this DJ's here playing his curated set. And not to say that vinyl sets are pre-programmed, so I don't want to get that mixed up, but it's that you're only here at the venue with a certain amount of songs, certain number of songs, and you're going to play them in whatever order and whatever way you're going to play them, but that's it, right? Just like back in the day, there was a certain magic about a DJ being able to pull off playing hours on end with whatever records they bought and whatever records they brought, right? I think that was a big part of, in my opinion, the whole song selection thing, right? It's first, before you pick the song to play, you had to pick the song to put in your crate to take to the gig. You had to be a lot more premeditated than we now have, or you have to be a lot more premeditated back then than you do now, because now you can have tens of thousands of songs on your laptop or on your USB and go through all of those songs and pick out whatever song that the crowd wants to hear. But back then it's like, yo, you have a few crates, you have a few cases, and that's all you have. And that's what made DJs stand out compared to other DJs, because there was that understanding that each DJ is just bringing a certain amount of records. So you're going to hear what they brought and you're going to hear that part of them. I think because of digital DJing and because of technology and because more of a disconnect between the DJ and what the crowd thinks the DJ is really doing, there isn't that understanding of, for some, that's what song selection is, and that's where it starts. It starts when you're packing your crate. It starts when you're deciding, this is the vibe that I want to set for the party that I'm going to play. And it it bugged me seeing the comments from people about that whole IG reel or YouTube short or whatever. But also too, like it bugged me more seeing the older seasoned DJs not taking that step back and understanding like the situation, right? Where he's not saying, yo, don't do that. He's saying, or don't play like the newer stuff. Neek was saying, this is what I prefer to play when I play vinyl. And that whole preference thing is huge. That is what gives you your sound as a DJ. That's what really kind of makes and separates you from other DJs that play, where DJs can be so cookie cutter now when we're playing clubs because we know these are the songs we have to play. These are the songs that are going to get the crowd reaction. These are the songs that are going to sell bottles or whatever the case is. But when it's a vinyl set, it's like, yo, this is what I brought because this is what I want to play for you. And this is what I'm sharing with you, the crowd. And to the people that are comparing like vinyl DJs to people that use laptops or controllers or USBs or whatever the case is, and saying like, oh, you think you're better because you play vinyl? Like, no, it's a silly, I don't even want to call it a debate. It's a silly conversation to have. It's that it's a different skill set, and just because this person plays this way doesn't mean they can't do the other thing. And they never said that they're better than you in any way because they're playing on vinyl and you're playing digital. Like, it's the whole sync button conversation just kind of shuffled around, right? Where even to this day, you'll see DJs on social media say like, yo, if you use a sync button, you're not a real DJ. Well, news to you guys, some of the biggest DJs in the world, some of the DJs that you look up to, if you say something like that, they use sync. And there's a certain understanding, or you get to a certain point where you look at features as tools rather than crutches. Like, I know I use sync in certain situations, like for big pitch changes or whatever the case is. And to me, it's not a crutch. I know how to beat match by ear. I've done it for decades at this point. I have no problem doing that. It's just I'm using sync as a tool to do something that wouldn't be physically possible if I wasn't using it. Or it's cutting down the time between, having to beat match to get something else set up. It's a tool, not a crutch, right? Same thing with vinyl DJing. It's a different way of DJing. It's not any way shitting on any other way you want to DJ. Yo, if you can rock a party with 2 cassette tapes, fine. If you can rock a party with a Pioneer DJ club setup, fine. What really matters at the end of the day is, can you rock the party? Can you make people have a good time? And in the process of that, can you show a little bit of yourself and share that with the crowd in front of you? Well, that's all I got for today. Please, I would love to hear your comments on this whole vinyl debate that kind of popped up on social media this week. Leave it down in the comments below. I'll be sure to read each and every one of them and respond to as many of them as I can. And of course, if you're interested in more DJ related content, please be sure to click on one of the videos right here, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.